Good morning, Hojo staff, students, and families. Ya'ate Abena. We're ready to start the day, so everyone please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Our bodies are still, voices are off, eyes are on the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, April 28th. And we're ready to listen to some music from Mrs. Neff this week. This piece is a very famous piece. So tell me what we are listening to, who composed it, the name of the opera, and the name of the selection we're listening to. So what are we listening to? Rossini's opera, The Barber of Seville, and the selection we're listening to was Figaro's Aria. That's right, Figaro. Okay, and we're on to our art of the week, which is an Italian sculptor, an Italian composer, and now an Italian sculptor, and Rossini and Bernini. Right, so Bernini is our artist of the week, and we looked at the first example of his sculpture from yesterday, if you remember, and it is Aeneas and his father and son. So Aeneas, Anchises, and Ascanius leaving Troy. Aeneas carrying his dad, his son at his feet, leaving Troy. And today we have another sculpture, and this is from the biblical story from the Bible of David. And if you remember, David slays the giant Goliath. And we've actually looked briefly at Michelangelo's example of David, but here is another example of David, a sculpture of David, and he's getting ready to throw the stone to kill the giant Philistine. And you can see that it's unusual in that you can see movement. So you can see that his arm is pulled back, ready to fling the rock on the slingshot, and that he's wearing clothes or cloth of a shepherd, and the armor is at his feet. He shed the armor to because he can fight more freely without it. And there's a harp because David is the psalmist in the Bible, writes the songs. So again, this is David, sculpted in 1623, long time ago. Bernini's David. Okay, and for poetry this week, Robert Louis Stevenson, My Shadow, from the first grade selection of poems. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller, like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleepyhead, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. Isn't it interesting when we hear a poem like this from Robert Louis Stevenson, and we can get a little glimpse into his life? He says, I think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. And so you can tell that when he grew up, he had a nurse or governess that would take care of him. If you've read the story, if you've been through 5th grade, The Secret Garden, you kind of get that feeling of a child whose parents are not quite involved in their children's life. They have a separate life, and that their children are raised by nurses and governesses. So you get a little glimpse into the life of Robert Louis Stevenson when you read this poem. I think any poet can't help but share a little bit of himself when he writes or she writes a poem. Okay, Bill of Rights. So we added the 10th Amendment. So we have our complete set of the Bill of Rights now. We just have to finish memorizing. Okay, so the 10th Amendment, I'll say a portion and then you repeat. The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. Right? So the states, the rights, the power not listed, not delegated to the United States or to the federal government, the power not regulated, not delegated to the federal government, automatically goes back to the states or directly to the people. So the federal government people in the government cannot assume that the power of different things rest with the federal government if it's not listed in the Constitution. So anything not listed in the Constitution remains the power of the people in each respective state. So let's say it again. The power is not delegated